And we move on to our next story. Tens of thousands remain isolated across New South Wales as floodwaters slowly recede after days of record-breaking rain. Authorities report that up to 10,000 properties have been damaged in Australia, with over 550,000 people still affected by the crisis. Power outages continue in several regions, and more than 20 emergency warnings remain active. The death toll has risen to 5 after the body of an elderly man was found near Taree, one of the worst-hit towns. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, unable to visit due to dangerous conditions, reaffirmed federal support for ongoing relief and recovery efforts. Over 600 flood rescues were carried out in the last 3 days. NSW Premier Chris Minnis praised emergency services, saying their courage prevented what could have been hundreds of deaths. Authorities continue to deliver essential supplies by land, air, and water. Residents are warned to avoid floodwaters due to hidden dangers like electricity, snakes, and health hazards from stagnant water. Scientists link the frequency of such extreme weather events to climate change. Now we move to Asia. South Korea has expressed concerns to China over the establishment of a no-sail zone in the Yellow Sea, an area where the two countries' exclusive economic zones overlap. The zone, which China has declared until May 27, restricts ships from entering certain parts of the sea, reportedly for military training purposes. South Korea's foreign ministry stressed that while both nations are allowed to conduct military drills in the shared zone, China's move raises concern about excessive restrictions on navigation. South Korea has praised these concerns and is coordinating with its defense ministry to assess if China's actions comply with international maritime law. Additionally, Beijing has reportedly set up 3 structures in the area, which it claims are aquaculture facilities, leading to speculation about China's broader maritime ambitions. Now we move on to North America. A U.S. federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to facilitate the return of a Guatemalan man who was deported to Mexico despite fearing persecution there. The case highlights a serious mistake in his deportation process, with officials acknowledging that they failed to assess his safety concerns. The man, identified as OCG, is a gay Guatemalan who fled death threats in 2024. After being deported to Mexico, where he had previously been raped and kidnapped, OCG chose to go into hiding rather than face further detention in Mexico. The judge called the situation a horror and emphasized that the administration failed to provide the due process required by law. This ruling adds to other instances where the Trump administration has been ordered to reverse wrongful deportations. The top U.S. diplomat in Havana, Mike Hammer, has vowed more sanctions on Cuba following the U.S. government's recent action against Cuban judicial officials. On Wednesday, the Trump administration barred 3 Cuban judges and a prosecutor from entering the U.S. for their involvement in jailing political dissidents. Hammer emphasized that these sanctions are just the beginning. He also stated that the Cuban regime, not the U.S., is responsible for the island's ongoing economic crisis. Cuba has accused Hammer of trying to stir up resentment, but he has continued his efforts to engage with the Cuban people despite government's opposition. Now we move on to Asia. A police helicopter crashed in Thailand's Prachuap Khiri Khan province, at least killing 3 people. The report suggests that the Bell 212 helicopter was on a training mission when it went down around p.m. local time near the Wing 5 Air Force Base. 2 pilots and a flight mechanic died. The status of the person who parachuted to safety is not yet known. In a similar incident on April 25th, a small police aircraft crashed into the sea near Hua Hin Airport, resulting in the deaths of all 6 officers on board.